You know the most useless people in South Africa? It's the people that are imposed on you every 5 years in a form of a list to parliament, a list to the provincial legislature, a list to the council houses all over the country. And when indeed they get elected by you, guess what they do when they get there? Fuck all. They do nothing for you. And why I'm saying what I am saying, just recently, I couldn't participate in the hashtag Justice for Toto because I was dealing with my own personal issues. It's just my personal life. And I wanted to participate, but I could not find myself doing anything about it. However, I did sign the petition. And also, I was supporting all these marches that are happening in the country by spirit, of course. Now, what is ticking me off is that South Africa, we have lawmakers. Operative word here is lawmakers. Those 400 men and women that you send to parliament every 5 years to represent you. Now, the problem with this is that in South Africa, our freedom of choice when it comes to our public representatives were taken away from us. And you ask yourself, how constitutional is that? It might be enshrined in the Constitution, which is, to me, some kind of ambiguity, at the same time, blatant disrespect to the values and the principles of democracy, because the people shall govern, right? That is what democracy is, with the people, for the people, and all that stuff. But every 5 years, we are told, oh, this is going to be your public representative. Who chose you? Because I don't remember being part of an election where I said, I want to vote for X to go represent me in parliament. But instead, I was told through a list that I don't even know where it comes from, that if the political party that wins the elections, this is going to be your public representative, who never comes to their so-called constituency to come and have public meetings so that we are able to give them something to take to parliament regarding whatever it is that we are going through in their constituency. For 5 years, we never see them. But be rest assured that when election season comes, just like we are going to be having for the local government elections, they're going to be all over us like bad rash. And I'm talking about the ones who successfully got into council houses and did nothing. I mean, the evidence is there. It's there. Look at the city of Johannesburg. Look at Campton Park. Look at Tshwane. Look at Durban. Or I'm talking about metros and municipalities, the potholes, dirty water. The list goes on and on. And yet, you got people who came in 2021, lied to you and said, oh, we are going to do this for you, and we're going to do that for you, and we're going to make sure we clean this, and then we are going to create jobs. Wait, how's your life right now? How is your life since 2021? Because they're coming back. They want to go back to enjoy the privileges, to enjoy the incentives and the power and the prestige of being called councillor, of being called MMC, of being called mayor. But let's look around. What do they got to show for it? What do they got to show for it? Let's go to the big house, Parliament. In Parliament, this is like the mothership. They are supposed to be making laws that are in the interest of South Africans, but they are not. That is why you have a 7-year-old child and other, some of whom unfortunately lost their lives because their perpetrator did not want them to identify them. And then you have lawmakers who's supposed to protect these children, the vulnerable in our society. The older women as well have fallen victim of these heinous crime. Because of YouTube, I cannot necessarily say it out, but I'm going to use alternative words such as forcing oneself onto. That's the crime we're talking about here. And this is supposed to be something that our lawmakers should bother them in their conscience as well as in their peace of mind as lawmakers. Like, hang on a minute. We have an epidemic in South Africa called forcing oneself onto. Young babies, young girls, teenage girls, pre-teenage girls, women, they walk in South Africa with absolute fear in every ounce of their being because there are men out there who were raised by a pack of wolves. Maybe some of them were not a pack of wolves. They did the best that they could in bringing up their children to be upstanding men in society. But the streets reshaped and reprogrammed the home training. So maybe it's not a pack of wolves, but some ilwane. Because the mentality is of a wild animal. Yeah, now what was she wearing? How short was her skirt? What does that got to do with your self-control? Because you're not supposed to see that. You do see it, fine, but that is not an invitation, you dummy. That is a woman that is expressing herself in a democracy. Now, back in the day when girls, before colonialism, they used to walk with their out. They used to wear traditional skirts made of beads all the way up. You could see their nyash. Do you think the men of those days, they did and said the things that your weak bottom is saying? What was she wearing? She called it upon herself. No, you are weak. And you know, when I used to be on Twitter before it became X, I quit Twitter on the 20th of January 2020 because it was no longer the platform that served my interests. And my interest when I joined Twitter, it used to be a place where intellectualism reigned and ruled the day. We had intellectual discussions, whether in politics or in science, economy, whatever it was. And it used to be fun because it was stimulating and you learned a lot on Twitter back then. And then came Bell Pottinger. Remember Bell Pottinger in 2016? That's when Twitter in South Africa went south. Today, it's the pits of hell. And that's when I resigned. I was like, I'm done. But prior to me leaving, I used to have a hashtag, which I named Chop It Off. And I was so sick and tired of every time justice for so-and-so because her boyfriend forced himself onto her or ex-boyfriend forced himself onto her and unalived her. I got so sick and tired, and I was a person who was highly against the death penalty. Highly against it. But my mind began to change slowly but surely. Why? Because I just got so sick and tired of a human being disregarding another human being's life. Like, it's like squashing a cockroach. Like, that's how I felt. And I was like, no, I have a sister. And I have said, even on Twitter, I dared any man to touch my sister. I don't care which way you touch her. As long as she said no, but you continued because you don't see her, because you think you have power over her, and I find out, I will hunt you down like the wild animal you are. And when I get you, I'm be the one who call the police, especially if you unalived her or forced yourself onto her. Because the oxygen you breathe, I cannot share it with you. When the police come, I'll be having a pew-pew. I don't even know where I would have gotten it from. Because I have one mission and one mission only. Not to share the oxygen with you. And the moment they tell me or command me to put it down, I let a bullet down. Right there. Drop it. And let the police do whatever it is they want to do. But one thing I know for sure, there are a lot of girls and women that will never encounter that animal again. Ever. Why did I come to that conclusion? Because I fear for my sister's safety. I fear for the women and girl children in my family. Fear. I live in fear. Yeah, in as much as women do live in fear, us two brothers live in fear for our sisters. And I know somebody's going to like, what about the other women, other brothers freeing you for their sisters? They don't have to worry about that. I was raised right. Don't worry about I was raised right. Very right. So the point that I'm making here is the fake outrage from our lawmakers, because they realize, oh my goodness, the people of South Africa in their diversity, they emerged and took to the streets and demanded justice for Kwekwe and Alu. And we were nowhere to be found. So now we need to make sure that the people see us. Same goes with the so-called celebrities. Suddenly, all this time they've been quiet. All this time. But I'm not about the celebrities. I'm about the people with the power. The people that we give them the power without our choice, by the way. Yes, we do go and vote, but we imposed those people onto us, and they do nothing. Hashtag chop it off. For me, it was about when this wild animal called a man that violated this woman or this girl child found to have indeed did what they did. Have it chopped it off. Because there's one thing that a man will not want to lose. A man is willing to lose many things. But that one thing that's inside their pants, no. No. Don't touch. Don't touch. So now let's regulate it. Because clearly it is out of control. Let's regulate it. And I'm not talking about those girls that goes to the police station and falsely accuse a man that they've met in a club, and the man stupidly took them home, did what they did with them, and then the following day the girl demanded 25,000 rand, and he's like, what? And then the girl goes and lay a false charge against him. I'm not talking about her. Those girls, the same people that sit in parliament, supposed to have made a law for them. But no, they're not doing it. There are men that are in prison today without evidence, convicted because some girl lied about them. Kukuzlamini. Right? That law needs to have been created already. But the law that needs to be already active for decades is the one that protects women in this country. Why? Why don't we have that law? Oh, I know. You see, I'm even sweating because I am so outraged. The reason why is because the men and women that you send to parliament, some of them are men, some of them are women who are mothers of boys that they did not bring up right. They did not sit them down and taught them that when a woman says no, it's not to be interpreted in any way. Let go, walk away. So now they realize that if I agree to this law to chop it off, my son or my grandson or my nephew or whatever that person is to you, you are protecting them by burying your head in the sand. While people without security living in parliamentary village and your children going to private schools where they are safe, who gives a shit about them? But you the one who swore to serve them. You swore to serve them. And other people will say, yeah, but if you deal with these people like that by chopping it off, you are infringing on their dignity. How? So you're telling me in your argument that a woman is not entitled to, it's not even an entitlement. It's not, dignity is not an entitlement. It's something you are born with. So you are saying that she is less than a human being to even consider her dignity. That's why you forced yourself onto her. On those that defend such people, because they are. I mean, we did see the wild animals coming out to say, what deserved it. A 7-year-old deserved it. And it's said by a law student and another one who is studying to be a teacher. Deserved it. Do you see that if we have a chop-off policy, you know what? I don't even want to go too far with you guys. I get it. Section 10 of the Constitution, everyone has a right to dignity. That also includes women, because women are everyone. And if we amended that portion of the Constitution, limited, we need to limit it so that we bring in chop it off. And somebody will be like, what about what? Because there will always be those, what about? Because they don't want anything solved. They want to throw in a what about. Instead of saying, okay, let's have a discussion, guys. Let's have a discussion. But now you are also going to have people who are going to try to be smart and work around that law. They will violate the girl or violate the woman or the girl child and then unalive them. And then when you call for the death penalty, they will refer you to Section 11 of the Constitution, the next door to dignity. Everyone has a right to life. Yeah, true. That is why death penalty was abolished in 1995 because of Section 11 of the Constitution. Why aren't we discussing in limiting it as well? Because this person forced himself on the victim. And because they don't want to be identified by the victim, they unalive them. So we chop it off. Let them live without it for a couple of years and then walk them the green mile and pull a noose. Let's deal with wildness with wildness. Dignity for dignity. There is no way, guys, that we are just going to hand over our peace of mind, especially the women of this country. There's absolutely no way, guys. You are born of a woman. Have you suppressed your conscience that much that when you look at the person that she's crying and begging, but when? No, we need to take away that power that you feel when you're on top of her. We need to take it away. Leave you with nothing. But that's the responsibility of our lawmakers. This topic should have been discussed. By now, we should have a solution. And the number of this sort of crime drastically reduced. There's evidence, guys. We don't even have to go far. Botswana. Botswana has the death penalty. Tell me what is the unaliving rate. Tell me what is their men forcing on women rate. You know why it's low and almost non-existent? Because they got this thing dangling in their faces that, I don't want to meet it. And that is why women in Botswana are safe. They might not be 100% safe, but at least they know that if anybody touched me, something is going to happen to them as well by the law. Because the lawmakers in Botswana are thinking and always putting their constituency, which is the people of Botswana, at number one. Their interest is in their heart, because themselves, they are not born of a tree. They come from families with two genders, or whatever the case is. And they want to protect them and make sure that the laws of Botswana work for them. The problem in South Africa is that we are not thinking for the greater population. It's about us and our little cliques. That is why when we vote according to those cliques. Oh, because I am whatever, I will vote for DA. Because I'm whatever, I'm going to vote for the ANC. Oh, because I'm whatever, I'm going to vote for the EFF. Three political parties that don't love us. Yeah. None of them love us. They, especially the ones in red, they loathe South Africans. It's not just the, the white people. No, they hate us as well. The only time we are useful to them is when it is election time. I've said this in a video before, and I'm not pulling out of those words. So, you want to hold these lawmakers accountable, which we should. But what about us as the voters? When are we going to hold ourselves accountable? Because all of these things that are happening in our country, it's because we contributed. We contributed when we hear words such as, what this got to do with me? We have, wow. We have sick people in this country. We have really, really fucked up people up here. And they come in all races, by the way. The things that I have seen and heard makes you, it confirms it. You were raised by a pack of wolves, wild animals. There is no way that you will talk like that coming from a family that brought you up right. No way. I refuse to believe that. I think maybe I judge people, the ambassador that I meet, when I meet you, I don't see you. I see the people that raised you. Me, personally. I'm not going to judge you. I'm judging the people that raised you. Yes, you're going to say, but some of us, we did your best. No, you didn't. Otherwise, you would not have this wild animal doing the things that they are doing, causing pain and harm on other people. Like I said, with my sister, my mother did not give birth to a punching bag. My mother did not give birth to an object. My mother definitely did not give birth to an early grave of my sister. No ways. You do something to her, be ready, because I am coming after you. I am coming after you, I'm telling you, my brother. I'm coming after you. Because I know the law is going to fail my sister. I know it. 99% of the time. Just this so-called pastor was acquitted yesterday by a court of law because there's no evidence, and yet the victim is there in complete, distraught, failed by the law, and I will not. I will not. That is why I am with that brother who made sure that his blood brother, after he's done what he did to his daughter, went back to his brother's home. Pew pew. Didn't ask questions. And he called the police himself. Did exactly what I always say I would do. Why? Because the so-called lawmakers, they fold their arms and fall asleep. And we are watching them on the telly. Instead of creating laws that are going to protect the vulnerable of our society, that are being taken advantage of. Some of them can't even talk because they live with a disability, and yet there's somebody who finds pleasure. But if the noose is dangling right before their face, or the possibility of losing what's in their pants, then none of this will be happening, guys. If it does, it will be at such a minimal rate. It will not be happening, guys. When are we going to stand up when we go to vote and vote for ourselves, guys? And when I say for ourselves, I am talking about it's time we took the IEC to court as the people of South Africa, because their responsibility is to educate us about our voter rights. Oh, I know why they're not doing this. Because cadre deployment is involved. Yeah, IEC, we know that. All the commissioners and the IEC chair people, they are members of the ANC. Please, we need to protect ourselves in every aspect that we can, so that those dummies and the voting cows don't hold us accountable in any way. We support, right now, voter education for local government elections ought to have started in 2024. But no, they don't want you to be awakened by your rights, so that you see that, oh, I don't have to be sentimental and feel guilty if I don't vote for the ANC, or if I don't vote for the EFF, or if I don't vote for the DA. Guys, what are we doing to ourselves? All of this is because of us with our votes every 5 years. We put a stamp of approval for all the stuff that is happening in our country. We the ones, we need to hold ourselves accountable. That is why I feel like the IEC needs to be held accountable for not doing their job. The lawmakers, we need to find a way of recalling them when they are not doing their jobs, when they don't come to their so-called constituencies and report back to us, so that we can engage them and then send them back with something to table in Parliament, so that we are safe, so that we are serviced, so that things happen for us that we voted for. Oh, come on, guys. Come on. What is wrong with us? Because Otto is not the last. As long as their wild animal body parts are not chopped off, there's going to be another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. While you line up and vote for more children to be violated. What comes to your mind as a parent? And I'm sorry for victim blaming, because you need to hold yourself accountable with your vote when your child is lying in that coffin, because some wild animal saw her and thought, this is my pleasure box. And after that, unalive the child. Because you're the ones, when people come to campaign, how's it working for you? I just want to know, how's it working for you? But guys, I don't know what else to say. I do not know what else to tell you. But one thing I know that is going to resolve most of our problems is having a discussion as a nation. If you think you're exonerated from all of this, you are so wrong. You are not exonerated. As long as you are under the sun of South Africa, you need to take accountability and you need to contribute to the future of this country. Because people like me, when we come forward, you reject us. You reject us. You don't want us in the list to go to parliament so that we raise these issues and force them to adopt and also implement. Because the majority of you guys are parents who have failed the society of this country. Failed. That is why we have boys and men that think that they are superior over women. Let's regulate that. Clearly, people are irresponsible with some body parts. Let's regulate those body parts, whether it's hands or their dicks or whatever it is. Let's do it. And I know that there are boys as well that also experience this type of crimes. But I'm talking about the vulnerable of our society, and that also includes these vulnerable boys. So they won't have people like Okolana but say, hey, my birthday comes first. Hey, wherever. And yet when the LGBTQIA plus person is unalived in the most brutal way, justice for that person. Come on, guys. What are we doing? What are we doing? I continue, guys. If it works for you, who am I to come and give you an alternative or a solution? Who am I? The fake outrage from some people, staggering, especially from the lawmakers and our so-called celebrities. Fake. Fake. That's who you are. Fake. And unfortunately, South Africans are not going to hold you accountable. They're going to continue supporting you, fanning you, while you continue not supporting the populace of this country. You're not. You're not interested. It's not within your brand. It's not within your constituency. Oh, it's not within my race. That's got nothing to do with me or with us. Please.